Hi everyone and welcome back to this channel. So in this video I would like to show you how to create different redirections after the user logs in. For example, they're using the same login page, and let's say just a simple user tries to log in. Enter, they logged in, they get redirected to the user dashboard. They are logged in as a user. If they try to access to the admin page, for example, they are not allowed. They haven't got the access to this. They haven't got the right to access to this page. If I log out and I'm logged in as using the same login page, I'm logged in as a super administrator or admin or whatever you want. Super administrator in my case. As you can see, I get redirected to the admin dashboard. You are logged in as an admin. So if this is what you're looking for, then leave a like, please subscribe, and let's just start it. So in the last video I created this Laravel 7 application. So it's a brand new installation of Laravel 7 with Tailwind CSS on the front end. And we are already created one user. As you can see in my database, I have one test user. Okay, so by default, if you are logged in, we got redirected to this home page. As you can see, we have this dashboard and it says you are logged in. And if you log out, you are not able to access to this page. So I'm just logged out, and if I try to access to this home again, we get redirected to the login page because we are not logged in. So if you go to your application and if you check your routes, web.php, as you can see, you have this route get /home, and it directs you to the home controller index method. And if you go to this home controller in your application, app, HTTP controllers, home controller, you got this middleware auth, which is detect that you are not logged in, and it gets redirected you back to the login page. So we would like to do two different pages, one for the admin and one for the user. So let's just create the route for them. We copy it and paste it twice, one for the user. I want to go to the user controller, at the index, and the route will be user. The other one is admin. I want to go to the admin controller, index method again, and let's name it admin. Okay, these two controllers are not exist yet, so let's just create these two controllers quickly. Let's go to your project folder, open up a console inside it, and let's create our user controller. Okay, so nothing special here. PHP artisan make controller user controller. Hit enter, it's created, and let's create one other one for the admin as well. Hit enter, and these are created. Let's go back to VS Code. We have the admin controller and the user controller. And if you go back to our routes web, we would like to go to the user controller index method and the admin controller index method again. So let's go back to the user controller, and let's just quickly add this index method, or even you can copy it from your home controller. So now we are in our user, we have the index method, and I want to return not the home view, but I would like to show the user index page. For example, same with the admin. If you go to the admin controller, we would like to hit the index method, and we would like to return a view from the admin folder. So let's just create this folder and the index file. Same with the user, create the user folder and the index file. Scroll a bit down, go to the resources, and if you go to the views, let's right click on the views folder and add new folder, one for the admin and the other folder for user. And inside the user folder, let's create a new file called index.blade.php. And inside the admin folder, create the same index.blade.php, hit enter. And basically I want the same look as it is now. So if you go to the home.blade, as you can see, we have this dashboard here. Dashboard, you are logged in. I want exactly the same for my user, but I want to say that user dashboard, and to say you are logged in as a user. Same for the admin.index.blade. This will be our admin dashboard, and you are logged in as an admin. Okay, everything is automatically saved. Now we need to install a packages for that. You don't need to install the packages, but I will install a package called Laravel Trust. So if you type in Google, you will see this Laravel Trust, and the newest version is 5.2. And for this, we will use a package called Laravel Trust. So if you type in to Google Laravel Trust, you will find it, and the latest version is 5.2. And the reason you can do this logic without this Laravel Trust package, but the reason I like this Laravel Trust package, because you can easily attach roles to different users in your application, and you can check easily if they are admin, if they are just a simple user, or you can give different positions to users in your application. So there could be just a basic user and blog writers and a super administrator who can control everything on your page. So you can set different levels on your page, and you can manage it and control it easily with this Laravel Trust package. As you can see, if you have, for example, a new user, you can make it admin straight away. So you have a new user, let's say, and you can say attach role admin, and from then that user will be admin on your page. But of course, by default, I will set it to just a simple user. So anyone who registers on the page will be just a simple user without any special permissions. Okay, so let's just jump in and install this package for our application. If you go to the installation tab, easy peasy, composer require, let's just copy it. We are inside our blog project. Let's copy it again. Paste, hit enter, it will install this package to your application. Okay, that's installed, nothing special here. Let's just follow the steps. We can leave the step 2, step 3 out because we are using Laravel 7. Next one, we need to publish these files, so copy this step 4. Paste, enter, that's done. Let's just do this config clear as well. Probably it wouldn't need, but I just do it. That's done as well. Okay, next step, configuration. So you can see this tab after installation. If you click on it, there is a manual way, or if you scroll a bit down, or if you select this automatic setup, as you can see, it's recommended, and I recommend it as well. So let's just copy this PHP Artisan Laravel Trust setup command and paste it inside our command line. Enter. Let's type in yes, hit enter. As you can see, this created our migration files, raw, permission, and Laravel Trust trait. After that, do PHP Artisan config clear again. enter, and composer auto dump, and composer dump auto load as well. Paste, enter. Right, that's done as well. Let's just go back to the VS Code for a second. Let's just go back to the VS Code for a second. So now if you go to the config file, you should see Laravel Trust seeder and Laravel Trust as well. So you can see all the free models. So user could have roles, permissions, and stuff like that. And if you go to the Laravel Trust seeder, you can see we have by default, it's coming with Laravel Trust by default. You have a basic user, you have a administrator, and you can have a super administrator who controls the site basically. But if you want, you can add more different levels. So if you want, you can add, for example, a blog writer. Just copy one of these and say you can name your levels whatever you want. So let's say blog writer, and it will create your blog writer automatically as well. Let's just delete it and close this. Okay, and the other one, if you go to the database, you will see we have a new migration file which will create everything in your database to set up these relationships between the user and the permissions and roles and stuff like that. And if you go to the database seed, we don't have a seeder out of the box for this, but we will install a seeder as well. It's very useful. So if you, and by the way, if you go to this model user, it says you need to add this line to your user model, but if you check, it's added automatically. You have this Laravel Trust user trait, so you don't need to do that as well. Right, so let's go back to this page. You will see we could create this PHP artisan Laravel Trust user. Let's just do that as well. Paste, enter. Seeder successfully created. If we check our application, database migration seeds, you can see we have this Laravel Trust seeder now. So it will create one, just a normal user, a administrator, and a super user, super administrator as well in our database. So we don't have to do that by manually. But we need to specify this action in our database seeder. So if you go back to the website, you can see we have to do composer autoload, or we have to do composer dump autoload again. Enter. Right, that's done. Now let's go back to the Laravel Trust website, and we need to add this line to our database seeder. So copy it, go back to our application, and we are inside the migration. We are inside the database seeder folder and database seeder.php. We just need to add this line. It's saved automatically. And now, if we are check our database, so that's where we are. We had a test user in our database, but let's just migrate our new files into this database. So let's type in PHP artisan migrate. Hit enter. As you can see, we have these permission roles now, and permission users and roles and permissions table. But now let's seed it with by basic setup. So let's say PHP artisan db seed. Okay, that's done. If we check our database, hit refresh. If you check your user database, as you can see, our test user has been deleted, and we have 4 type of user. Now we have a super administrator, and as you can see, it's automatically generated an email address as superadministrator@app.com, and we have just a simple user. So this is our simple user with a simple user@app.com email address, and it's automatically generated a password for each user, and the password is password. That's it. So now no capital letters, nothing, just password. This is the password. It's automatically generated. Of course, you can update these passwords, or you can create new users, and of course you can add your password accordingly. And as you can see, we already populated our roles and permissions table, so everything is populated for you, so it's working out of the box. Okay, but now if you are trying to log in, like for example, if you try to log in as a super administrator, we type in our password, which is password, as I just mentioned, hit enter, we still get redirected to this home route. And it would be the same if I try to log in as a user. So let's just sort this out. We have already created these routes, user, admin, and we already created these controllers for them as well. Now we need to go to this app folder, HTTP folder, and auth folder. And if you go to the register controller, this is how Laravel register our users into our databases. So this is the validation. It's check if we have name, email, and password typed in, and then it's create our user. But from now, we would like to attach a role for each registered user. And by default, I want a newly registered user, just a simple user. So I don't want to allow to access different pages on my website. For example, I don't want a freshly created user to have access to my admin page, for example. In order to do that, it's as you can see, it's creating a new user on the fly, and it's on the fly returning the newly created user. But I want to create a user variable here, which will be equal to this newly created user, and I will copy it from my existing project. And then, as I just mentioned earlier in this video, easily you can attach different roles to users. So this newly created user, I want to make it just a simple user. So this user attach role user, but you can make it, for example, admin or blog writer, whatever you want. But by default, I want to create this user, and then I return this newly created user. And we want to redirect them. At the moment, we are redirecting to the home page, but we haven't got this home page anymore, so we would like to redirect them to the user page. And you have to do the same for user confirmation password. You will need to change this one. And for the password, reset password as well. But first, let's create the login controller and create the logic there, because you need to use the same logic in the reset password and the confirm password controllers as well. Okay, next one, we need to go to the login controller. So as you can see, by default, we get redirected to the home route if we are login. So by default, we are getting redirected to this route. You can leave it as it is. So there is a new user, for example, if they are logged in, they are creating their account, then you can direct them to the simple home, and then you can, for example, make them admin or super admin or blog writer, and then they get redirected accordingly. But for now, I just delete this route, and I don't want to redirect any of my user to this home route. I want to direct them to my user page, what I just created. In order to do that, we need to use a request as well. So let me just copy and paste it here. So make sure you have this Illuminate HTTP request imported up in your file, and we have deleted this line. And here is where you would like to check if your user is super administrator, blog writer, or whatever you want, or just a simple user, and then redirect them accordingly. I will copy and paste. Okay, so basically you just place this if statement and you check if your currently logged in or currently registered user has a role super administrator or admin or blog writer, then get redirected to the admin page. If not, then check if the user has a role user, blog writer, whatever you want, and then redirect them accordingly. So in my situation, if the user has super administrator, then I role super administrator, then I want to redirect it to the admin page. If the user just a simple user, I want to redirect them to the user dashboard page. Okay, let's test this out. So as you know, because we use the database seed, we have super administrator user with this email address and password, and we have just a simple user with this email address and with password. So let's try it out. If I log in as a normal user, I type in this email address and the password is password. Click login. As you can see, I got redirected to the user dashboard. You are logged in as a user. If you log out and try it out with your super administrator, with your admin, super administrator email address and the password is password. Okay, it works. You got redirected to the admin dashboard, but we have one more problem. The one problem is that I can access to the user profile page. So as you can see, I typed in user and I'm on the user dashboard page, and vice versa. If I logged in as just a simple user and if I type in admin, hit enter, I could access to the admin page as well. And the other problem is that if I logged out, as I just did, as you can see, I'm logged out. And if I try to access, for example, for the admin page, here you go, I'm still have access to this page, even though I'm not logged in. So let's just fix it quickly. If you go back to your VS Code, we have two controllers currently. We have a admin controller and a user controller. So if you check the home controller, by default, you have this public function construct, which will check if the user is authenticated, and if it's not authenticated, then it's get redirected back to the login page. So we will use this public function construct in our user controller and in our admin controller. By just doing this, this is the default Laravel one. So I copied it from the home controller. Okay, so by doing this, if I try to hit refresh, so now if I try to access for the admin page, I got redirected to the login. And let's say I try to access to the user page, user profile page, I got redirected to the login. But I still have a problem. If I'm logged in as a user, password, login. Okay, I got redirected to the user dashboard, but I'm still have access to the admin page. And this is where Laravel Trust comes in to play. So if you go back to VS Code, I'm in my admin controller and we are checking if the user is authenticated. But I also want to check if this user is just a simple user or a super administrator. If they are super administrator, then I want to give them an access to these pages. So you can easily do that by Laravel Trust, just simple typing in role and super administrator. And if they are super administrator, then they have access to this page. If not, they get redirected. And you have to do same with the user. If you don't want to give access to, for example, for your super administrator, you just type in user, and now only the user could have access to this page, but the super administrator doesn't. Log out. I'm logging as a simple user. Enter. Okay, I'm logged in, user dashboard, try to access to the admin. And here you go, 403. You don't have the necessary rights to visit this page, so you are not allowed to go to this page. You still can visit the user page. And if you logged out and you log in as a super administrator, you are redirected to the admin dashboard, try to access the user page, and you don't have the necessary rights, but maybe you want to give access to this user page for your admin. And you can easily do that by going back to this and just use this pipe and type in the next role, whoever you want to give access to this page. So for example, it could be admin or super administrator. So let's check it again. Here you go. Now I can have access to my users page as well. And that's it, guys. You can test it, tweak it, and create your logics and permissions and roles however you want. You can see some concepts, configurations, and all other stuffs on the Laravel Trust website, and you can use them in your application. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Bye.